Good morning. Good morning. Uh, Thank you for joining me. We are here to talk about the 5 things that will hinder your growth as a nurse coach. We'll be right back. Hey to the most amazing nurses. It is Dr. V here with Morning Infusion with Dr. V podcast, where we are intentional about teaching nurses how to work from anywhere around the world, making money and owning your own time, building profitable nurse coaching and consulting businesses. You will hear from amazing guests that have grown their companies and want to share insight into how you can do the same to change the face of healthcare as we know it. If you want to grow your businesses and leverage your knowledge as a nurse to grow wildly successful businesses at the top, instead of working your way to the top, head on over and join our Millionaire Nurse CEO group on Facebook, where you can ask questions and get updates on our live and virtual events to help you grow your businesses. Good morning. So I wanted to talk today about 5 mistakes that a lot of nurse coaches make as they're trying to grow their nurse coaching businesses. So one of the biggest mistake number one is that they don't leverage social media. Now, I guess I grew up in a time when social media was not a thing. And so there was so much knowledge that I wanted to embrace. There was so much knowledge that I wanted to have, and I didn't have access to that knowledge. And so because I didn't have access to that knowledge, then I struggled to grow as a person because the knowledge just wasn't there. And so, I tell people all the time that we way back when we used to get the Encyclopedia Britannica. Now I'm dating myself, right? But then we would get the Encyclopedia Britannica, we would put it in our homes, and by the time we got the information was old news. And so the reality is that we really want to be intentional about leveraging social media, leveraging the platform. Today's news, if you think about the fact that you can go from being a very unsuccessful business to being a very successful business with the power of social media. So just give you an example. So Keith Lee, who I love to watch, he's a TikToker, right? And so Keith Lee has this channel. Now, whenever he comes on the channel, he always rates this whatever the particular company that he's rating for it, because he does food. It's almost like he does a food vlog, right? So it's a video, like a blog, but in video form, right? And so he comes on and he does the vlog, and he will rate a company. And when he rates this company, what happens is that company will start to get so much more in business because he has an extremely large platform. The last I looked, it was like 13 million. I'm sure it's much higher than that now. But it's an extremely large platform, and people will go and try, because he always says that I'm going to tell you the truth. I don't care what it is. I'm going to tell you exactly how I feel about it. And so, that number one gives them the comfort to know that they're going to get the truth out of him, that he is not getting paid by these companies, that he is trying to help the companies that are smaller get into the food game, as we shall say it, because of course you have to have a quality product once you get into where you're going. So that's one thing that is huge, huge, huge. It's just leveraging social media. So you have all the social media platforms. Of course, you have Facebook that you can leverage. And one of the things that we do, so like for example, on this podcast, we stream it to several different sites instead of having to that repurposes your content on several different sites, so that you don't always have to go to those sites and and le- and post your content, right? So with this particular StreamYard, if you get paid version, then you have 3 sites that you can um, post to, or you can post it to 8 sites. Now, 8 sites, of course, is a larger dollar amount, but the reality is that if you're leveraging at least 3 of those sites, then you are good. right? And so let's think about it. So when you think about Facebook, so we stream to Facebook, we stream to LinkedIn, and we stream to YouTube. So those three sites are pretty powerful sites. And so we want to make sure that we're leveraging those sites. We want to make sure that we are streaming to those sites. And what a lot of times what people do is that they get so engrossed and so overwhelmed by all the sites, but you just have to utilize the tools that you have in order to be able to move to each site effectively, and understanding that you put one thing up a day every single day. And that's where a lot of people struggle as well. They don't want to put up everything, and video is has a 300% conversion rate over written word. Just know that. So you want to make sure that you're putting video up every day. You want to make sure that you're leveraging that video. Like you can take a podcast like I'm doing right now, and you can repurpose little slots of the podcast. And so you want to make sure that you're doing that as well, so that you don't have to work harder and you're just working smarter, right? And so it's just like whenever you go into a room in the emergency department or wherever you room, if you're whatever nurse you are, right? You going into the room. One of the things that you want to make sure that you're doing is you want to take all the items that you need to take in that room. And I remember being, a nurse and going down the hall. And as I was going down the hall, I wanted to make sure that I had all the things that I had in my hand and take it into the room so that I won't have to, I'm working smarter instead of working harder. So that's one of the things that you want to do, number one. Number two is that you and a VA can have a multiple six-figure company, just you and the VA. The problem though is that a lot of people they don't hire fast enough. Number one. Number two is that there is this thought process that I can't make it to six figures with me and that VA. You want to make sure that when you are dropping the ball, so there have been times, and I'm just going to tell you how I started out and how it started from the very beginning. It was a struggle. It was a straight struggle, and there were plenty of times that I would just I would miss things, and I was missing those things because I didn't have a VA to help me, virtual assistant to help me leverage the opportunities that I needed to leverage. Understanding that you need someone to help you move to those six figures. Now, this next one is huge, 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 huge. Number three is email marketing. Now, a lot of people, what they do is they say, well, I'm not going to email this person every day. Grant Cardone said this one time, and it made me feel a lot better because we email our client list every day. And the reason why we email our client list every day is because we want to be top of mind. You want to be top of mind whenever that person is thinking about going into business, whenever that person is thinking about consuming the product that you have, you want to be top of mind. And leveraging social media in your email marketing campaign is two ways in which you can do that. But a lot of times what happens is people won't do that. And the reason why is they say, well, if she emails me every day, then I'm going to unsubscribe from her. Well, if it's not, that probably means that that's not your product. That probably means that you don't need to consume that particular thing. And you, on the other hand, as a business owner, need to understand that they're probably not your ideal customer. Because if they're your ideal customer, typically they will stick with you throughout it all. And so understanding that is key. He said if people are not unsubscribing, Grant Cardone said that if people are not unsubscribing from your email list, then that means that you are not sending out enough emails. And so you want to be very clear, because one of the things that you want to do is you want to detract the people that you don't need, but you want to attract the people that you do need. Right. And so understanding that is one of the most important things. Also, you want to take them from social media to your email, right? You want to take them off the platform. And this is where a lot of people fail as well. They leverage the social media platform where I'm going to get a bunch of likes, but are you getting paid from those likes? Are you getting things that you need from those likes? So are you taking them from the social media platform and sending them to your email list? So whatever that looks like, whatever that funnel looks like, whatever that systematic process to get them from point A to point B, that needs to be a very solid process with a solid call to action, with you ensuring that you are moving them from point A to point B to point C, whatever that looks like, right? And so, because at the end of the day, you want them to consume your product. You want to make sure that you are doing that thing all the time. Making sure that your emails are also valuable, that they are value driven. They're giving value to your clients. You want to make sure that you're doing that as well. And so that's one of the things that we're very intentional about. Increasing your vulnerability in your emails, understanding that people like to see the person behind the email. And so you want to make sure that you are having that vulnerability. That's as a leader as well, right? So that's The Power of Vulnerability by Brene Brown. It's a phenomenal book. If you've never read it, please go read it because it is absolutely amazing. If you've read it, then I want you to drop a comment and say, I have read it, because it is amazing. Now, another thing is systems. Phew, I wish that I would have known this in the very beginning. I wish that I would have known. I wish that I would have even understood how to develop a system that got people from my social media site onto my email list so that I could nurture them. Because that's what you're doing. You're nurturing your email list. And let me tell you something. If you're not showing up for yourself, then I can promise you that you can't expect other people to show up for you, right? And so that is huge, huge, huge. You want to make sure that you are leveraging that. You want to make sure that you are doing what you need to do every day, showing up every single day, being consistent. Consistency separates one hit wonders from all time greats. So if you're not consistent with yourself, you have to be consistently consistent, because it's these small 2 millimeter shifts, small bite-sized palatable pieces that get you from point A to point B, so that you are able to serve your clients. Because at the end of the day, money is just a conduit, right? And a lot of people, they're like, "Ugh, I just can't do this because I'm not making enough money." Well, if you keep doing it, you're going to be successful. You're going to be successful. Of course, you have to have proof of concept, right? It has to be something that other people want. And a lot of times people will leverage things that people don't even want, right? And so you want to make sure that you're leveraging the thing that people want. And there's a way to find out, how you are, whether that is a thing, whether that is a trend in the market. And so you want to make sure that that is a trend in the market for you to be able to leverage whatever you are. So if they want it, they will consume it. You put out there what they want, but then you give them what they need. That is so key. Because what happens is we'll put out there things that people don't necessarily want, and then we expect them to come in, and we expect them to be just all googly eyed. You put out there what they want, you give them what they need at the end of the day. Now we're going to go to commercial break, and I'm going to tell you the last thing, which is super important. Our live event is going down twice a year in Rocky Mount, North Carolina, called the Millionaire Nurse CEO Conference. We will be covering the blueprint and master plan to grow a wealthy and flourishing company. We love that you listen to the podcast, but we want you in the room. We will be sharing insights on marketing and sales strategies so that you are able to create more impact and make more money, creating more freedom so that you can do the things that you love. So join us for the nursing event of the century. Go to vpnursing.com to sign up for this life-changing event. Now, that is one thing there. You want to make sure that you are you have those several streams of income, and not several streams of income from other sources, but from your coaching program. So I'll give you an example. So one of the ways in which you can have one stream of income is via your webinars. Now we have a webinar that's coming up, our masterclass webinar, however you want to, and you can use it interchangeably. We have a webinar that's coming up July 11th and 2023. You want to make sure that you are leveraging your webinar masterclass, however, whatever you're doing. The reason why, so you have your VIP access, and you can give the webinar away for free as well, just so that you can have people come in and experience your coaching, have them come in and understand that how to leverage, so that they know you, because there's a know, like, and trust factor. Because at the end of the day, whenever you show up for yourself and you show up for yourself consistently, then they see your consistency. Then what happens is it creates a ripple effect among them. So that's number one. Number two, the VIP. So you can have a free version. The free version gets you their name, their email, so that you can consistently nurture them. Then you can have a VIP version of the masterclass slash webinar, and that VIP version can either, they can be entered into a raffle to win a gift, or they can ask you questions and they can be coached right on the spot. Because a lot of times that's what we need. We need that one thing that will move us from point A to point B. So that's how you monetize a webinar. Podcasting. Now, one way in which you can leverage your podcasting is, number one, you can have paid guests that come onto your podcast, or you can go to other people's podcasts. That is one of the things that you can do in order to, number one, gain exposure. So that is other people's media, so that you can get in front of their audiences, so that you can expose who you are. The more exposure you have, the better. And a lot of people are like, well, I'm saying the same thing over and over and over again. If you think about, all the big people out there, like if you think about, Eric Thomas, or you think about Lisa Nichols, or you think about Les Brand, I mean, they say that they have the one or two few stories that they have, and they're saying it over and over and over and over again. But a lot of people, you're like, well, I've already said that once. You've already said that once, but you may not, like, the person who needs to hear that may not have heard that. So it is okay. Repeat it over and over and over again until you get the story so locked in that it creates an emotion in the audience, or an emotion in the person that you are trying to connect with, because you're trying to connect with them, not just on a business, tactical purpose or a tactical way of connecting with them, but you also want to connect with them on an emotional level, right? Because they see themselves in you. They see themselves in who you are. So that's huge. Lastly, not lastly, but coaching. Now, coaching is obviously the way in which we make money via nurse coaching, right? So it's nurse coaching, but then there's nurse consulting as well. So this is what I tell people the difference is. Coaching is like business to customer, right? And so that's what I look at as coaching. And it can be business to business or business to government. But then when you get in there, you are essentially coaching like one group of people with an objective, or you're having one group of people in the government that you have that one objective with. Well, when it comes to consulting, that is a little bit different. So consulting is where you go in and you look at their processes and you're like, well, this process does not work, and this is the way that we need to change it. Or we could improve this process by doing this, that, or the third thing, right? So you want to make sure that you are, the difference between coaching and consulting. Either way, both of those ways, there's a systematic process in which you get your client from that platform that you're on back to your product. Speaking. Now, there's several types of speaking that you can do. Number one is that you can do the pay to play. Now, I've done that before. I've done that maybe twice before. I won't ever do that again. And the reason why, and you as a nurse, and especially if you have nursing experience, I don't advise you to ever do that. And the reason why is because, my coach says you're worth more than money can buy, but your price is your price. And with you having to have gone to school all this time and you have an amazing skill set in order to be able to transform lives, you don't need to be speaking, you don't need to be paying to speak. Now, one of the reasons why I did it was to gain exposure. And that's just because I felt like I wasn't exposed enough at that time. But the reality is that you can gain exposure by you consistently showing up on social media every day, creating a systematic process to get them from social media to your email list, and then nurturing them every day. That's the way that you can create exposure for yourself, and you don't have to depend on anyone else to be able to do that for you. That being said, the next thing that you can do is a excuse me, is a free speaking event. Now, if you want to do a free speaking event, again, I would rather you do a paid speaking event, but a free speaking event gets you in front of audiences. So a lot of people are like, well, I want you to pay me. So say, for instance, your speaker's fee is $10,000. If your speaker's fee is $10,000, you get in front of the audience, but you're not able to sell to the audience, then that hampers you. So which would you rather have? Would you rather have it so that you get paid $10,000, not be able to sell to the audience, or you get paid $10,000, or you get paid nothing? You are able to sell to the audience. You have a package that's worth $10,000 and you sell it to 5 people, and so then you get $50,000. Which would you rather have? So I'm gonna go back over that again because I want to make it glaringly clear. So would you rather the person pay you who is asking you to come to speak $10,000 for the speech where you're not able to sell from the stage, or would you rather get paid nothing, get on stage, sell from the stage? Your package is $10,000. You enroll 5 clients into your business, so that's the total of $50,000. I think the $50,000 would be what you want to do. But you can take those $10,000 deals. That's fine, but you want to make sure that you're leveraging the audience as much as you can. So if they say that you can't sell from the stage and that you get $10,000, then you want to make sure that you are as well taking, you're as well getting like the email list maybe, in order to be able to leverage, in order to be able to nurture those clients as you go. So those are the 3 types of speaking. Now we have training, right? So training is more the business to business type of deals. And so this is one thing that you have to do as far as business to business is concerned. And this is one thing I want you to be very clear on. And this is very, very important. So I want you to hear me out. When you are going in to speak, or when you're going in to train for a company, you want to ensure that you are understanding the terms of the contract. If the terms of the contract are not conducive to you, then don't do it. So you want to make sure that the contract is worth more than you can have. So I'm gonna just give an example. So if you go in and you do a speaking, and the terms of the contract is, so you go in and you do the speaking, they promise you $10,000 for you to go in and do the training, or for you to do the speaking. They promise you the $10,000. You get the contract back. And the terms of the contract says we're going to pay you $1 a day for the next 10,000 days in order for you to get your money. Would you still do that? No, because the terms of the contract are not right. You want to understand what the terms of the contract is. You want to get that contract. You want to make sure that you are leveraging that, and you want to make sure that you understand those contracts before. Get a lawyer to look over the terms of the contract. Read it if you don't have a lawyer, so that you know. Don't just go in and just sign whatever. You want to make sure that you understand that. The last thing is the VIP days for your clients. You want to ensure that you have VIP days built in for your clients if that's what they would desire. And VIP days typically, is for you to be able to, it can be built into the program, or it can be outside of the program where you come in and you look at their systems and you help them to understand where they are, where the gaps in the business is. Because a lot of times it just takes that one tweaking of the gap in the business in order for them to be able to move forward. And so those are the 5 mistakes that I see nurse coaches make that can really, really hinder them from growing their coaching businesses. So it was a pleasure talking to you, and you have a phenomenal rest of your day.